All right, let's call this meeting to order. Do you have any public comments?
No, we don't.
No, we don't. So, no, we don't. Okay,
Not online.
not online, yeah, right. Anybody out here, public comment? Okay, all right, we did just get a letter. I will read it. From Elizabeth A. Witt.
You can, if you want, we're in the public hearing for the ambulance.
Okay, all right, we'll do it then. Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah. All right. Any other public comments? Okay, approval of minutes.
I'll make the motion.
I second.
Okay, any discussion on them? All who agree, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say aye. Minutes have been approved. Approval of the treasurer's report.
I make a motion to approve the treasury report.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say aye. Dina just brought to my attention, I forgot. I'm like, no, it was good. It was a good thing. Pledge of allegiance to the flag.
We forget that.
So-
Silent. One sign.
Let's stand up.
Thanks, someone's collar without a whack when I got here.
There's a moment of silence first. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
The collar thing.
No, you're good. You're good. All right. Public hearing for the ambulance. Do we need a motion to open the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to open the.
I second that.
Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, the motion, the public hearing for the ambulance service is open. Anybody have any comments? Anybody online? Now I will go back to reading this letter. Okay. December 5th, 2022, to City of Lanesburg and City Council regarding special assessment for ambulance service. Please accept this letter as my formal protest against the special assessment that is planned in support of ambulance service. I am not protesting ambulance service, of course, as that is important to our community. I just do not believe you should be taking extra money from taxpayers to cover the cost. I believe I paid too much in property taxes already. 2 millage proposals for Shiawassee County passed in November. Those will undoubtedly result in an increase in my property taxes for the coming year. My taxes were already well over $5,000 for the past year. I think that is too much to expect from an ordinary homeowner. Property taxes should take into account not only the city's needs, but also the ability of its residents to pay. How much do you really expect the average citizen to pay every year? Inflation has hit us all hard over the past year. We have all had to tighten our belts, pay attention to budgeting, and curtail discretionary spending. Rather than taking more money from property owners, the city should tighten its own belt, curtail any discretionary spending, and consider applying for grants and or possibly reallocating money from less vital categories or projects. Sincerely, Elizabeth A. Witt. Okay, anything else? All right, can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Make motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And public hearing is now closed. So they- That was great. All right. Approval of resolution 2219 confirming the ambulance special assessment. Can I get a motion for that?
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Okay. Do we have any discussion on that?
My only discussion would be that when I put these on the agenda and I put approval of resolution 2219. There is always a vote. So if I put that on there, that's what we're asking you to consider. We're not trying to tell you that you have to approve that.
Right.
If you guys would prefer that we don't label it that way, then that's fine, but. That it just makes everything easier for us when we're doing the minutes and, some of these things are things that, but if it doesn't pass. Then the minutes would just reflect that that resolution did not pass. So just so you know that.
Yep, perfect.
It's that way it's just kind of a clerical thing. That's why we put it
Right.
on there.
Perfect. Thank you. I mean, this is really all we're doing is the resolution says, yes, turn it on based on what was voted on by the voters in the election, correct?
It just kind of goes through the process that we've been through to get to today. And our charter requires 2 public hearings. Even though we had a vote, we still followed the charter and did the first public hearing and the second public hearing. And that's why our tax notices did not go out until tomorrow. If you guys pass this resolution, then we will make this a lien on the properties. This will become for the next 10 years what people pay for the ambulance. And although we went through, the first public hearing, got the ballot language approved, we had the voters approve it. This is the final step is that you guys have to approve us putting it on the tax bill. And that's why tax bills will go out tomorrow, because everybody's asking.
Hey, any other discussion? Should we have a vote? Do we need a
Roll call, please.
Yes, wait, go ahead.
Okay. Miller,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Beavers,
Yes.
Judd,
Yes.
Geisler. Yes, Geisler.
Yes. Okay. Resolution 2219 for the ambulance special assessment has been approved. Next, marijuana updates, Farrell Consultant.
And Connie is on, so whenever
Okay.
we're ready, we can beam her up.
You there, Connie?
I think we're ready for Connie.
How is everyone?
Good, how about you?
Very good. I'm glad to be back.
There you go, perfect. Perfect.
So congratulations. The voters did approve the ballot language that they had submitted and our clerk did certify. Just a quick kind of historical review for you. If there's anybody that's new on the city council that was not there before. We way back in about this time last year, actually the first week of December, the city council made a recommendation and passed a resolution to place the city in a moratorium on issuing any new adult use licenses in the city of Laingsburg. The clerk did certify those signatures on that petition at the MRTMA, which is the state adult use law threshold of 5%. However, your charter conflicted with MRTMA, and after some incredulous research between your treasurer and I, we were able to get you through that and realize that though your charter had a different threshold, the MRTMA charter of 5% of the signature requirement was met, and the clerk had certified those signatures. And we drafted that ballot language and we put that ballot on, or we put that language and that proposal on your ballot for this past November election. It is my understanding from the clerk that that measure was approved to limit only your adult use licenses to 1 license, not 2. So Paula reached out to me and I have drafted basically these next steps for you. The first step will be that we are going to have to, and I don't know if this is the right term for this, but rescind the existing moratorium that you are under. And so we'll have to get rid of that moratorium. And I did draft up some language for Paula to use for that removal of that existing moratorium that you're still currently in right now. The second thing that I did was I went ahead and I looked at your adult use ordinance, I believe is 2-2019. Correct me if I'm wrong, Paula. And that was your 2-2019, right? Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that is your adult use your adult use zoning. And so basically what we did was I went in and I updated it to match what the voters approved. And I don't have the vote rate on the top of my head because I'm buried in a bunch of Word documents sitting in front of me. But basically, all we're going to have to do is you guys are going to have to move forward a resolution to take yourself out of that moratorium. And then your second step is going to be to amend that zoning ordinance to reflect what the voters of the city of Laingsburg agreed upon, which was only one adult use license. No other licenses have changed. Only under adult use, there is a limit of one. So your medical licensing ordinance remains at 2 in retail, but your adult use will only have 1. And so I don't believe that you guys are going to have to take this amendment to your ordinance. I don't believe it has to go out for public hearing, Paula, in the research that I've done, but don't quote me on that. I would definitely seek out our legal counsel's interpretation of that, but I think an amendment does not have to go to public meetings.
Oh, Connie, you're going in and out.
Oh, my apology. I don't think that it needs to be set in front of the public hearing, but I would want to.
We can't hear you.
Oh, that's weird. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, loud and clear.
That's great. That's weird. I have a microphone and everything. Okay. My apology, guys. Technology. So I don't think that you have to bring these amendments to the ordinance to public hearing, but I would definitely strongly encourage us to check with legal counsel to make sure that that's the case. But like I said, it's just a matter of bringing you guys out of this moratorium and then getting this amended ordinance back on the books the way that the voters wanted it. And the only change is to adult use, and it went from 2 retail licenses to 1. Everything else remains the same.
So my big question is, what's then to stop somebody after we rescind this moratorium from walking in and filling out all the paperwork and wanting to do a processing facility in Laingsburg?
You still do have processing licenses. The only license that the voters asked to change was just the retail licenses. And so you still have processing licenses, 2 available in med and adult use. You still have safety facility, 2 med, 2 adult use. You still have 2 secure transporters, adult use and med. You have 2 retail licenses under medical. You only have 1 under recreational. So somebody could easily come in and apply for a processing license in the city of Laingsburg under adult use because your ordinance allows it.
Right. So I would, and this is my opinion, right, that the voters of Laingsburg would not understand if we allowed a processor to move into Laingsburg based on the vote.
Because they're seeing
November.
it differently.
Because they're seeing it
Yeah.
differently. They didn't realize, and again, this is my opinion, right? They didn't realize that they were just voting to take the adult use license from 2 down to 1. So what's our, yes, I want to get the feedback from the council. What's your thoughts on additional licensing and additional, let's call them marijuana businesses, right? As opposed to adult use or medical, because there's medical, there's transportation, there's processing, that we still have 2 licenses of each that somebody could apply for and could get.
I first want to ask the question of her. So when we went in this moratorium, did we not hold off on the processing and the transportation and all those others? Or are you telling us that we only put a moratorium on the retail?
It is my understanding we only put a moratorium on the retail licenses. And the reason being is that the petition did not speak to anything but retail licenses. The petition was written by the citizens and they did not take issue with the other licenses that were on the books, so to speak, for the city. And so we only wrote to the retail licenses because that's what the question at hand was at the time.
Okay. Yeah.
So my only concern is that we have a really young council and this is like a big thing to get them up to speed in 30 days. Is there a chance that we could go into a moratorium for another 6 months to get them up to speed on these other licenses?
I would say, in my opinion, yes, you could. And I think it might take a work group or a working session for us to sit down and talk about what the options are for this. You know, and basically what you would then do is if you're going to amend this ordinance, which you have to anyway, based on the ballot initiative, you might as well amend all of it now, or we're gonna have to come back and we'll get to talk about it again, and you'll end up amending it later if that is the will of this council. And so, you know, we can kill 8 birds with 1 stone if that's the will of the council, or we can draw it out. But I definitely have no issues coming and spending some time with a young council to advise you and educate you on what your ordinances are empowering now and what you believe as a council you would like to have those ordinances be in the future.
So you don't see these as two different topics, it's like taking it down from 2 to 1, and also the moratorium, you see this as a group thing. Is that what I'm understanding?
To some degree. I mean, when we take an ordinance that's operating right now in your city, this ordinance is operating in your city, right? The one retail adult use license that you have awarded, they're operating and they're fine. So they could be taken as separate situations if you wanted to. So in that track, it would be, we would go ahead and move forward amending only the adult use ordinance and pulling down that 1 license instead of 2, and then obviously rescinding the existing moratorium, or we go into another moratorium of all the licenses that are on the books while the city council determines which license types they want to amend the ordinance with.
So if we go in a moratorium for all of them, does that affect the renewal of? I think
Yes, it will affect the renewal of the existing operator unless you write the moratorium for it not to include, but I'm not sure that we can get away with that. Not sure.
So I understood that we could do a moratorium and not do that particular type. Is that not true?
Well, so could we do the moratorium for medical, transportation and processing?
I would do a moratorium on any new applications.
Any new applications?
Yeah, because my concern is that,
We don't want it
The
to.
new-
out there now.
that next month I have to bring you a renewal.
Right,
So
I know.
if we're in moratorium, how do I do that?
Right, no,
That's why I was-
I get it, yeah.
Yeah, so that's my concern.
But that's
is
why I
that-
was saying, if we do the medical, transportation and
But like
processing.
she says, if you do for any new,
Any new
Yes,
licenses.
yeah, yeah.
No, I get it, I get it. Yeah,
right,
yeah, yeah.
not to exclude,
Yes.
to exclude
Yes,
renewal.
yes,
I
get it.
guess that would,
Yeah.
that would take care
Yeah,
of it.
yeah, either way, I think it would work, but I like the idea of the any.
Right.
Would
I like
make
that.
sense, yeah, so.
But I think it would, I do think that this moratorium needs to be rescinded. And a
Yes.
new one have to be entered into,
Yes,
because this one excludes everything,
right.
Right.
which I probably shouldn't even have taken John's check.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but, so,
So the process would be to rescind this one and get a new one, basically.
Yes,
I believe
Yep.
that would work.
and yeah, we would rescind the one that is in existence now and then make a,
Prep them both and get the language correct.
exactly.
So the other option is just to take all the licenses down to 0.
That is absolutely an option as well, except for your retail licenses.
Except for the retail licenses, and I mean, that's an option. I don't think we want to do that because as Gail said, you kind of started with this, right? Half of our council and our mayor are all new, right? So want some time for them to get better feel for, the issue and that type of thing, so.
No, and absolutely. And I'm always one that strongly recommends working sessions, especially when you're discussing a topic that sometimes can be hot amongst your community public. At least having that education or that question and answer with me standing there with you, the public has that ability to see that dialogue back and forth. And you guys, I have to commend this city. A lot of these situations end up in litigation, and the city of Langsberg has done a really nice job of handling this challenge, and the will of the voters very well in a way that hasn't landed you in litigation. And so when we look at that bigger picture, I think if you continue down that transparency model and have some sort of a working session to discuss what it is that all the city council members, new and existing, that are from previous terms elected, all of those issues that they're hearing from their constituents, getting that all out will have a lot better effort at being able to get a really good ordinance written off of what you already have in place, which is great.
Okay. So the moratorium, as I understand it, expires the end of the year. Do you think we're good to go to the next meeting, Paula?
No,
I guess we would
No.
have to extend it then,
We'd have to extend.
or
it,
we
yeah.
go ahead and, I mean,
Paul, I can get this moratorium language to you tomorrow.
right, I mean, I have it in there if we just want to, I mean. I would just have to make it a new resolution.
And you have another meeting in 2 weeks, right? Yeah.
No, we only
No.
meet, oh, no, we only meet once a month.
Oh,
Start that.
We
oh,
can
oops,
start
sorry,
it.
guys.
So with this moratorium in front of us. That we currently have, could we just extend that for another month?
Yeah, I think you could make a motion.
Could we make a motion to extend this to January's meeting?
Yeah, I think that you can do that.
Would that be the simplest thing? And then we can get you clean language for releasing the moratorium on the current licensee and putting a moratorium on any.
What is his renewal?
He's already turned in his stuff, but I decided not to even put that on tonight's agenda because we have this to deal with.
I mean,
So,
would this affect that renewal if we go through
yes,
January?
right now, this says that I can't do anything and
So when is his license expired?
he has turned in his new stuff because we have to go through the process.
Okay.
And I think it's April, but he's got to get me everything 90 days before. So we're in the process of the next steps.
Okay.
So,
But it's not like.
no, that's why I'm saying, I think we're good.
What's what you're.
We're good. No,
Yeah, I
I
just
think
wanna
we're
make sure.
good to January.
Right.
Because, but what I'm saying is that, that's why I took it off of tonight's agenda, because I knew when I looked at it, we pulled it up and I feel like they opened in April. And they have to apply 90 days, and then we have 90 days from the date of their application to approve it or deny it. So, I got his application end of November, but I can't do anything with it until we're on a moratorium.
Okay, so if we don't. Or you're saying we're gonna extend this for 30 days?
Unless
Yes,
somehow
yes.
somebody can tell me where this
No.
excludes the current ones. It
I
says-
didn't write it that way.
But it says to stop issuing, reviewing, or processing any further medical or recreational marijuana establishment licenses.
That renewal would fall in that category.
Okay, that's what I was afraid of, is
Yeah,
that,
that renewal will fall right in that.
okay, I just wanted to do it cleanly, that
Hmm.
I mean, I don't
Yep.
want to renew his if it is in violation of this
Nope.
resolution.
So if we extend this till the January meeting, we come back in January with a new resolution that covers everything.
I think that works.
I think
That
it
we
works too, yeah.
extend the moratorium to January 9th meeting where a decision will be made on further action.
Yep. Yep.
Sounds like a good motion if somebody wants to make.
Make a motion. Second.
Okay, we got a second, let's have some more discussion. Everybody clear on what that means?
What if we extend it to like the 15th of January?
Which is,
That way, after the meeting, you still have a few days before it expires.
that's true. That's
So
true.
it gives you time to process it.
Whatever you guys
I-
want.
I would actually put it at the end of January.
Why don't we just do end effect? No, I'm just kidding. Just being a smart aleck. Okay, yeah, and yeah.
All right, so then that means,
So I'll amend the motion to make it to the end of January.
And then in the meeting, if we want to, we can rescind that one.
But just in case anybody wonders, I'm not gonna bring the renewal until February. Does that make sense?
So long as, Paula, I just want to make sure, so long as he doesn't have a renew, because he has to have an attestation signed by the city in order to get that renewal. I just don't want to disrupt local Roots's operation. So if you want, I can reach out to him or you can reach out to him. I just want to make sure that he is not, I work with a lot of cannabis owners and they are notoriously filled with procrastination, not saying that local Roots is, but
No, I
find-
know that, I mean, I don't know how long they have, Connie, but I do know that he's looking at April probably for his renewal, but I don't know how long he has to get it to the state. before-
Okay.
Ours required a 90-day, lead time. So I don't know,
yeah,
I don't know what the state does.
yeah, I just don't want us to go, oopsie, sorry, local Roots.
The end of November, end of December, end of January, end of February. I mean, we really have to the end of February to approve it.
Yeah,
Thinking he probably gave himself time.
And
Okay.
does our moratorium affect him with this, anything he needs to do for the state? Does he need our approval to go to the state?
yes, he does. And that, yeah, exactly. You guys are the
I
gatekeeper to all of this.
Can we handle his renewal and this stuff at the January meeting without causing havoc?
I think we can. I think we can get some documents together that would allow that to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Because
get,
of
no,
this.
I get it, yeah.
Could we find out if it's a problem? Can we call some kind of special meeting if it is a problem for the timing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's always the backup with that, if you get into it and find out.
Okay, so now I'm not sure what the motion is.
And extend the existing moratorium until the end of January.
But is it really necessary to go to the end of
No.
January? Because we want to approve his at the February meetings or the January meetings, so he has time. Do you see what
No,
I'm saying?
Nope, you're right. You guys, I forget. You guys don't have two meetings. Yes, ma'am. I'm
I
on.
think we should do it at the
January 9th.
January.
Yeah, no, yep.
Good.
I'm good with January
Good.
9th.
I mean, you see, I can make that happen with the paperwork on
Yeah.
January 9th. On January 10th, I can do his renewal because you guys are gonna approve it after.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay. So we have a motion for, do we need to amend? Let's get a new clean motion
I make a motion
for,
at the next meeting, city council meeting in January,
so extending this moratorium till the next city council
Meeting,
meeting.
yes.
Yep, okay. We have a second?
Second.
Yep.
Okay, let's do a roll call vote on this one. So,
all righty. Miller,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Nichols.
Yes.
Beavers.
Yes.
Judd.
Yeah.
Geisler,
Yes.
Geisler.
yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we've actually took care of 5 and 6 there.
Yep.
All right.
All right, I think you're all set, Connie.
Thank you, Connie. Appreciate your help.
You're very welcome. Enjoy the night.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, my goodness.
Sorry.
That's a
All right.
rowdy public thing.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. All right, number 7, amend the cafeteria plan documents. You want to speak on this for just a minute? I think it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, it is, I really, I'm gonna tell you right now that, this email came in that there was a family glitch. In the cafeteria plan, it's the IRS ruling, so, I'm not really able to speak to the IRS ruling other than what I told you, but. It just seems like if we have anybody that's in that category or in that situation, that they wouldn't be able to use our cafeteria plan as it's supposed to be used. So this is basically just to keep up with an IRS rule change and allow people to participate and take care of the family glitch. And I mean, I gave you all the documentation I read and I'm like, I'm not really sure I even still completely understand what it's trying to do, but it just, if we don't amend our plan, then we are in with the update. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I make a motion to approve the
My second.
Okay, do we need further discussion? People,
I'm just looking for the cafeteria.
yeah. All right, let's get a
Who
roll.
was the second? I'm sorry.
It was Marcy Gale.
Yeah, always on
Oh,
resolution.
that's just, okay,
Yep.
perfect. Okay,
Miller,
Yes.
Allen, Nichols.
Yes.
Beavers.
Yes.
Judd,
Yes.
Geisler,
Yes.
Geisler.
yes. All right. Approve resolution 2218 tentatively determining necessity for collection of debts.
So just because we have new people, I'm gonna kind of explain a little bit of the process here. So we have an ordinance that allows us, if someone's grass is too tall, to cut the grass. So somebody will let Dan know, hey, my neighbor's yard's too tall or whatever. We'll try to call him. He posts something on the door. We get a hold of him. We send them, sometimes you
Give 'em time.
don't have a month. He'll get a hold of them, tell you got till Monday to cut your grass, whatever. They don't cut the grass. Usually it's another few days. The lawn mowing people come out, they cut the grass. And, then we tell the people, hey, we cut, and we don't cut it. We hire someone to cut it so they can't complain that Dave charged $200 to cut the grass. We actually hire someone to cut it. And, so that's the process that gets us here, is that those things happen throughout the summer, and then annually we put that on the summer taxes. So right now, we're starting a public hearing process to take this, because we've mowed somebody's grass and we tore somebody's house down. And both of those things, there's some money due to us.
So we're talking about the house that burned right now. We didn't just tear somebody's
Right.
house down. Sorry, no, not the way you said that. We mowed the grass. tore
Sorry.
their house down.
Well, no, that one's new. We haven't ever done that before.
Well, the problem being with that was the issue was the carnival's getting ready to
Right.
come to town, and it seemed like every time the wind blew, the appliances or wherever else, are flying out the window or the side of the house. I mean, it was just a eyesore and.
Disaster.
So anyway,
Safety.
the council. Oh, yeah, we went to the council and did get permission. We had tried to
Yep.
contact the
Yep.
person. And, the insurance company had a number, what it was gonna cost to, demo the house. Well, we had a guy come in, he had to call the state, get the asbestos thing taken care of. There was a lot of stuff that had to happen very quickly. And the amount that we paid was $1,443 more than we had from the insurance company. And the option is for the city to try to collect that from the property, from the homeowner, or does the city just take that? And so my direction was that we needed to collect that. And so this is my only way to collect it, is to put it on their tax. So what I'm asking you to do tonight is to have a resolution stating that you understand that, we mowed the grass and that we cleaned up this property, and that the people have been noticed, they've been billed, we've talked to them, and they'll also get a notice of the public hearing that we're gonna say, okay, here's the amount of money we're gonna put on your taxes. And then they have an opportunity to come and argue that. And then we have another public hearing. So this is like a 3 to 4 month process. And it could be $50 for mowing lawn sometime, but that's what our charter says I have to do. So that's basically in a nutshell what I'm trying to tell you.
Got it.
I mean, I'm looking at too, the insurance company, I hope none of you guys have that insurance company. They didn't take care of this homeowner very well with this. Sad, really is.
So now, wait, you said something about a public hearing, so you have to have two.
Yes, so what you're doing, this resolution, tells you what we're doing.
Yep.
And that includes scheduling a public hearing. So
Yep.
the council will be, resolving that I need to schedule a public hearing and to notify the property owners. And then we also put a notice in the newspaper. And all of that, the requirements are in our charter, how we do that.
Yep, okay.
So that's what I'm gonna be doing. And then, the way I have this typed up is that we would hold the public hearing at the, next city council meeting on January 9th. So if you pass this resolution, then that the things at the bottom are what's gonna happen, that, you saying, yep, these people owe us this money tentatively, according to the clerk. This is what they owe us, and then the total debt to be collected is $1,643. Charged to the above parcel, and then set a public hearing for January 9th. And that I have to notice everybody as the charge.
Hey, can we get a motion?
I make a motion to approve the resolution and. Do I say and?
It's all in the resolution. That's what a resolution does versus a motion. It kind of spells out everything for you that we need to do. So a lot of times you might make a motion, then somebody's got to add to it. Well, I've tried to get it all in the resolution.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Do we need any more discussion? Does anybody have any questions on it? Okay, let's have a vote, roll call.
Miller,
Yes.
Allen,
Oh, yes.
Nichols.
Yes.
Beatty,
Yes.
Judd,
Yeah.
Geisler,
Yes.
Geisler.
Yes. Okay. Resolution 2218 has been passed. We will schedule a public hearing for next meeting. All right, next appointment, or reappoint Anthony Papicelli to the planning commission, so.
I make a motion
Okay.
to reappoint him.
Okay,
Absolutely.
well,
We've already made him chair, by the way.
Yeah, that's, yeah, yes, I was gonna say that,
I
so,
hope you guys
Do we
like
have
to
a-
reappoint him.
so let me, hang on, do we have a second for that?
I'll second it.
Okay, all right, so before we vote, a little discussion. So Dean Ridsdale is also on the planning commission. I'm gonna check with him, but he's in Hawaii, so,
We're not even talking about that.
yeah, right. We've said as much as we're gonna say. So when he gets back, I will check with him. In January, we'll have another
Okay.
to get him,
Okay.
hopefully get him approved to get to, for his next. So that's why he's not on.
For Anthony.
I let her. It's not in the packet.
All right, so can we, all in favor, say aye?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, Tony has been
Yay.
reappointed and is the chairman of the planning commission.
So hopefully next month we will have, to appoint Dean, reappoint Dean.
Appointment to the Board of Review. So the Board of Review is they meet once in December, a couple times in March, once in July, basically reviewing client or customer citizens, excuse me, questions about their tax bills. Okay, it's a panel that sits in here, people come in, state their case. Hey, our taxes, our property taxes went up. Why did it happen? I think it's too high, blah, 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 blah. We have help from the county or
Assessor.
the assessor, yeah, that helps with that, right? So we need to have people fill out that form. I was on it. I had to resign from it, and Dina was on it. And we both had to resign because I was up for election and she was part of city council. So we're looking for two folks to replace us.
It's
Okay?
not time consuming, but it's two like full days. It's like one in the morning all day and then one at night all day.
One goes from 9 to 3 and the next one goes from 3 to 9.
And there's training now that's required.
Nice. Good. I could have used that.
We actually, yeah, I was on it
That
2
was-
years.
I think it's-
I was just figuring things out after the second year.
Yeah.
You don't do them.
I think it is important. I
Yeah.
think it-
Yes, it is. So, we have 3 potential candidates.
And one is an alternative, right? There's 2 seats that one. is-
Yeah, so currently, Linda Culpepper and Steve Brown are on there. And the people that resigned were Jeff and Greg Hunt, and Greg resigned, because he had some health issues. But he is one of the people that wants to get back on there.
That's what I was kind of wondering.
Yep, so we
Yep.
need one person to replace, the person that resigned and one person to be the alternate. And whether one of those people that are currently on there want to end up being the alternate, we need all
Just
4 of
need
them
someone.
trained and ready to go, because
Yeah.
Right,
if someone doesn't show up, if someone gets sick or whatever, I feel like it's really important that we have an alternate.
Definitely.
and we have, Greg is one, Randy Gregg has said he would be interested in doing it, and who's the other person?
Christopher Phillips.
What's that?
Christopher Phillips.
Christopher Phillips. So we need to decide. Do we want to decide to put two of them on and let them decide who the alternate's gonna be? Can we do that?
That's fine.
Yeah. So we need to pick two of those folks. And I guess my recommendation would be Randy and Greg.
I mean, Greg's done it. and
Right,
he
Greg's
knows
done
what's
it.
going on.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Lonnie got him got a raise. Or
Yeah, right,
Family.
which was, yeah.
And it is, I looked that up, the council approved $15 an hour for the
yeah,
board.
It wasn't what he was asking, but it was still more. Definitely.
It was $10 an hour.
I was gonna say it was
Council.
a 25% increase. right?
No, it's not, doesn't end up being that much money because you're there 12 hours, right? But still. It's something, so. Okay, any thoughts, I will make a motion to have Greg and Randy be put on the Board of Review.
I second that.
Any more discussion, anybody think differently?
the only one I know is Greg, so I can't say anything with the other two,
Right,
so.
yeah,
This other person ran for city council this time and he is stepping up and getting on the, he's on the planning commission now, so.
He's eager.
Yeah.
He's eager. Oh,
he
So
seems
you
good.
wanna know.
It looks like what previously served on the LFW Fire Department. How many years has got on that? We should have put that on there. His name still don't sound familiar.
There's not much experience.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, there's not.
From what I understand, he was on there for a short amount of time.
Oh, yeah,
He's younger.
2 months.
so, yeah.
Oh, a few months. Yeah, I don't know who it is.
okay,
You don't know.
Huh?
No, no,
I know
she's second.
Greg.
Oh,
I'm just-
Randy
I'm-
Craig.
Yeah, I'm not sure him and the other fellow there.
Yeah.
really
Okay.
good.
I don't know who they are.
Those with the-
They live right
They're
in
gone.
that White House. Greg. and
He
his-
knows Chris. She knows.
Oh.
Philip.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
I didn't know his name.
Oh, yeah.
I just knew the guy that was.
But I kept saying.
I was
she
trying to
lives with
find-
Greg, and then I'm realizing Randy, Greg. is-
Yeah, I know, never mind.
All right,
Huh.
so,
Okay.
all right, so we need a vote, we have a motion,
She seconded that already.
yep, right, in second, so all in favor? Aye,
Aye.
all opposed? Aye, okay, so Greg and Randy are on it, we'll let that group get together and decide who's the alternate. It's gonna be. All right, emergency services operation plan.
Um,
There's nothing in that.
oh, I was gonna say,
Yeah, that's-
oh, that's right. Sounds like, maybe I was too early to get my packet.
Oh, you know what, that might have been.
I bet it was. I
I bet you
got
that's
here too
why.
early.
We didn't have that, we didn't have those, that's why.
Is it
That's
at the
why.
back? Cause I'm on the internet. I got it off the website.
No, I
No,
got.
she got here and then
Not
we
really,
made a
no.
change. Cause we added that reappointment of Anthony Appicelli and took off the other one.
See if I do that again.
That's why you didn't have it.
Luckily, I had day off.
Did you guys not have
I
it?
did not.
You guys all got it last month.
Oh, okay, okay. All right, all right.
That was,
Okay,
he gave that out last month,
okay.
so I didn't really want to kill the
No,
trees
that's fine.
again.
So what's our action for this?
Well, just to approve it, I wanted to make sure that everybody on council knew what our
Okay.
emergency services plan was in case we had a disaster. And then, at this point, we'll, after the meeting, have the, mayor and Mr. Judge sign it, and then we'll be good for another year.
So we just need a motion to approve it, right?
Correct.
Yep.
I'll make
Now
a
that's
motion to approve the emergency service operation plan.
A second.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. You just do it, yes.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, all in favor? Say
Aye.
All opposed? All right, emergency services operating plan has been approved.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you. Dan.
Thank Dan.
All right, Spark grants.
Well, I do have Adam, in case none of you have met Adam before. He's from C2AE. He unfortunately has to work with me all the time.
It's a joy.
Aw. So if I need, some technical assistance on how to fix the tennis courts, or if we need a map, or we're having a problem with the sewer system or the sludge numbers or whatever, we call C2AE, and Adam is my favorite point of contact. So because he works Christmas ties.
There you go, perfect.
So, I did ask Adam to come tonight to lend a little technical information to our application. I mean, it's not an ideal situation trying to put together an application in the time frame that we're trying to do it. It really is not. Technically, normally we have something on the docket for the next thing to do, but I mean, I think trying to maintain some of the things we have is not I mean, that makes that a little bit simpler, like the things that you guys came up with at McClintock Park. Adding, the skate thing or the pickleball thing. Some of those things really take some planning because we don't necessarily all play pickleball or ever use the skate, so. I mean, 6 to 8 months would be way better to get this done in 12 days, but. So I think that because we have so much on our plate, I feel like that Adam could really help. And we do pay for their services. I want everybody to know that, up front that. C2E doesn't do all this stuff for free for us, and so I had them put together a proposal on what it would cost us to put that grant application together. And by put that together, I mean, those technical things. I mean, I do all of the like narrative and I do a lot of that stuff. Now, if I need them to explain the due care plan or the contamination, they're the people that have the technical expertise to do that. I can tell you everything you need to know about when the park went in and why we do this and why we do that, but he has all those technical things. So I guess one of the things that we got from them that we didn't have in time to get to get it in the packet, but we have some new numbers that they updated for. This is just going to be for McClintock because that was our first application. One more. So this is your latest numbers, Adam, and those changed a couple of things, when they really started looking into it, the price of asphalt is uncertain, and, they gave us some tentative numbers real quick for that last meeting that we had, but those numbers went up quite a bit. I think we added some lighting to the synthetic skate rink. That made that go up a little bit. So I think, I'm just gonna let Adam talk about what happened with the numbers.
We had, so there's a couple of additional items that are in there too, that we were able to work from, some as-built drawings for the site. And hone in a little bit closer on some of those measurements rather than we were using aerials and trying to get as close as we could. We wanted to get a ballpark. We wanted to get as much information as we could in that time frame.
So what happened was, we started talking about it, like you said, he was using aerials, but then I got a hold of Bob Ford, who helped us design from landscape architect and planners that helped us design that park. And we were able to get the drawings electronically and get them to Adam so that they could have real numbers.
And then, so the big change in there was mostly in the asphalt. So when we look into our crystal ball, which tends to be foggy, and this particular time is very opaque. There are so many different things that are impacting the cost of materials and equipment that it is really very difficult to make sure we can get those nailed down. So we want to be reasonable when we're going after the grants to make sure that the pricing in there should be able to cover what's in the overall project. Especially because we're talking about putting an application together now, but this project would have to get the grant, then be designed, then go to construction. So this isn't something that just happened in a couple of months. We're talking about dollars that are many, many months to a year down the road. So we did make some adjustments. The dollars that we had in for the asphalt was originally closer to a high level for what we would see for paving the roads. And we've adjusted it more to what would be closer to paving parking lots. Because of the paving work that we're doing, requires us to, we're anticipating the contract will be using smaller trucks to do less damage, trying to get out to the tennis courts, to build the pickleball courts, paving out there at the skate park. And then being able to maneuver for the paving on along the path in the park. So that more trucks, more man hours, and that just usually needs a little bit more time for them to do that work. So we did on those numbers.
So this came through the DPW, and we had discussed the numbers before we see these numbers. And one of our thoughts is that I know we can apply up to that amount that you have here for these things. We had talked about doing 2 applications, one for baseball park and one for Flint Park. I mean, we're basically gonna have no money to do anything for a second application, obviously, if we go with all these.
Correct. Well, with the particular scope that we have in here right now, it would consume the entire grant amount to go after the one. And the other part with this program is we're going to see 3 rounds of applications for this. So it's very good to get in on this first round, even though everything is very compressed to try to pull this stuff together and get the applications turned in. But it will get us a very good opportunity to see how they will score these projects. And the projects that are coming in there, there's 15 million in this first round. The next 2 rounds are supposed to be 25 million apiece. So we have other opportunities to be able to adjust or change the approach. We want to look at doing something different with future round application versus what's going, but we're going this way.
So as I understand it, we get this done. For whatever reason, we don't win round 1. Can we then modify this for round 2?
Yes.
Yeah,
Or
that's
we
what
could
he's
just keep it in there if we wanted to,
He's saying, see how they do
And,
it, so we could
yeah.
add a 40.
So we could change it as we wanted to, if we wanted
We
to.
could let it ride and have it
Right.
stay in the system that way, or we could adjust that one and pull it out and go with different applications. And stuff.
Okay.
So do you feel like it needs to be a whole different application for this part and that part totally separate, and we can't combine the parts? Is that your feeling?
Well, I think having 2 applications in for that type of separation gives you another opportunity to be able to win a grant. And so you have 2 applications in there for competing in that. A lot depends on what goes into those particular grant applications on how they'll score. So whether or not you put them all together, it could all go as one. That is a possibility.
So some of my concern with putting 2 different parks on the one application was the narrative and the scoring. Because like there's questions in there like how many people live within your park, you know, within so many half a mile of your park or whatever. So then you would have to, I mean, I feel like it might complicate it. I don't know that it's impossible, but
Correct. And I think it gives you different opportunities to see how they're going to score. So you might get some better chances to be able to get one of them if there's 2. in the system.
And they don't have a date for the second round yet, it didn't look like.
So one of the things we've heard is that the city is putting a lot of their resources into McClintock Park as opposed to Bait Scout Park or the other parks. I mean, and I think that's something we need to look at moving forward, is make sure we spread the love a little bit. So I know that's not you as much as this group, right? But,
I mean, I think having said what you just said, I think that people need to understand why this park has been funded. Because it's been funded with economic development dollars
Mhm.
that are only available to downtowns.
oh, okay,
So the
It's
the
center
Michigan,
of
the
world, too.
MEDC, that, this is our community park, this is downtown, this creates, economic activity. And so if you put money into Bait Scout Park, it's a different bucket of funding.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm
Yep,
saying?
no,
So
I get
I
it.
think that sometimes those comments that are like unfounded, they're not necessarily backed up by data that people have understood or spent 22 years, hearing the public input when we ask for it. Like we have public meetings and we get people together to talk about these things and, the economic development side of it, there's no money to put money in Bait Scout Park. Well, when I get those grants that they don't, that one is more of the the trust fund grant, like the DNR grant, the
Right.
one where we applied for the river. That kind of grant you could use out there, but the MEDC funds that did the amphitheater, they're not there. Those dollars, they're not gonna fund those projects.
So I don't know if the other council people know, but the baseball league did submit a pretty detailed thing of something that they would like to see out there. And obviously there's a lot of kids out there,
They're
and a
always
lot of
putting
parents
stuff
and
into it. too.
yeah, so, right. So at some point, I feel like we can find some kind of a grant that qualifies. Because obviously it's a big impact. It might not be close to downtown and the businesses, but it does impact a lot of people. The
A
kids
lot of
out
people
there.
rent those. They'll go down there and have like parties down there and
Mhm.
a lot of activity down there from at least my knowledge. And I bike ride all the time, and so we ride by there constantly and there's always people there.
And we do keep up with those pavilions and.
Oh,
take care
it's
of
nice.
those.
No
Yeah,
complaints at
yeah,
all.
No,
I mean, the
so.
park looks wonderful. I mean, as far as that goes.
And people
Then I
from,
usually.
and people from out of town use those and, a lot of, people, they don't realize that we don't charge for it.
Yeah, right,
So we don't,
Yep.
and that's because that park was funded with a trust fund grant. And, when we write grants, a lot of times we have to answer in there that whether or not we're gonna charge. Right.
So
Okay, I
going
just-
back to this, I just had a question also. Just how you worded it compared to how it was explained to us. Is it, if we put 2 applications in, is that still pulling out from the one mil that is possible?
Yes.
this is a minor question, but it popped into my head. You said we pay them, are your guys' fee for helping with each of these projects if we win, is that part of it, or are we gonna give?
So
another-
we have percentages in here to
Yep.
cover contingencies and some engineering dollars in there.
Yep, that's what I was at, I mean, I do this for a living, not for this, but for computers, right, and that's exactly what.
Yes.
So,
yep,
so when
we-
you say some engineering dollars, do you mean,
So, for example, the preparation and stuff that goes into developing the project and getting this stuff up front, that isn't plugged into these dollars, but design and construction services, those dollars would be covered. with,
so that money though, that prep work is an allowable expense for the grant. Starting October 1st, anything that was done, see, I just taught you something, didn't I? It is an allowable expense,
And we,
so I would definitely want to include it for,
and we do have markers in here for contingency and such, so
Mm-hmm.
hopefully that would be able to pull into the whole project.
so this does not include construction observation. That would be if we get funded, then that would be, so this is just design work.
We had a 20% marker in there, so that should cover.
Okay.
Should cover all the engineering dollars.
Okay. So that's why I asked you to.
Yeah, right.
Just put your money in.
Right, right,
This,
right.
this thing that we received that says, grant application assistance, time and material, that's not in these numbers.
No,
It's, yeah, correct. That's not directly plugged in here, but as Paul mentioned, that we could try to incorporate those into the whole project once that comes through. It's
So
all
my
tracked
thoughts
separate.
were, when Adam got me these new numbers, I called him up and like, it's gonna be a problem, because we want to put in another application, and when this, so I'm thinking, I mean, we gotta cut something out. I think you guys need to look this over, and if you wanna do another project, another application, I think that we need to take something out. I mean,
So didn't the DDA, weren't they considering putting some money into the lighting improvements?
yes, yeah.
I mean, I would, if I were just gonna get rid of one, I'd get rid of 7, but 7 would be
That's what I was
sweet.
thinking.
But that would be the first one that I would.
Not that in the winter time it wouldn't be cool, but at the same time, we really haven't gotten
Right.
snow the last few years. I mean,
Well,
we've gotten snow, but not a ton. I think it was
Also,
because of the winter time.
it's synthetic, so it can be up year round. too.
Oh, really?
Actually, I like that one the best.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
was our number
I feel
one.
like that it would draw, we don't have any city type winter,
We don't
Yeah,
have any
stuff.
winter, like,
and we could do little
Hmm.
other things around it. I don't know.
So
I do have one suggestion that might save us quite a bit, is I don't think the pickleball people were really asking for us to build new.
They just wanted us to fix it.
So I wonder if we fix the tennis courts and then Dave's gonna shoot me. And then get it ready for pickleball. Would that be a worthy rather than building new? I guess was that was one of my first thoughts was, yeah, and I do think the ice rink is expensive, but I am with Gail it's just something we don't have. We don't have anything like that.
And I
But I
thought,
think the first important thing is to take care of what we do have. I think those maintenance items are huge.
I thought we were discussing just putting the pickleball in with the tennis and just.
But that's not what this says.
Right, that's what I'm saying, we combine those and make it one thing and then they can.
Yeah, because that's what they had said too, is just.
Because you can make.
He didn't ask us to build new. I think it just kind of, there was some room there. We have that extra volleyball, so.
You said,
And let's keep in mind too, that they're not the same pieces of equipment. So you have things that have to come down and be put back up if you're converting. So if you're gonna have tennis and pickleball, you might have one court set up for tennis regularly and the other court set up for pickleball. And then if you wanna have a tournament or something like that, where there might be more people using tennis or pickleball, that's gonna be a maintenance item where you're gonna have to go out and change the equipment.
And this is again where it's like, if we had 6 months, 8 months to do some, hey, how many people play tennis? How many people play pickleball? That if we had that time,
yeah. we could
it'd be
redo
different.
it.
So maybe the best fix is to just try to accommodate pickleball on tennis for right now, and then find out if there's another grant coming, maybe in that, before the next round comes out, maybe we can find out. And then we could tweak our second application to say, nope, we really did need this, or.
didn't we talk about having the additional pickleballs for tournaments?
Right, but this,
The possibility of.
yeah,
doing this
so
like-
that's what this would include, is a separate,
Right,
like, 3-court, and then we could paint the tennis courts for.
So you'd have regular use for tennis, you'd have regular use for pickleball, but if you had a tournament,
You could
my
switch it.
understanding is 4 pickleball courts is ideal for being able to run a tournament, so you'd want to have that. Now, whether you had 3 in normal use, what we did is we fit as many as that could be in that location. Now, in order to be able to fit pickleball in there, the tennis courts will physically have to be moved a little bit to the north to be
Which
able
is
to
more
accommodate the
costly.
movement, which is a cost issue. Now, keep in mind, if we're looking at doing this so that we can fit it in there in the future, we may want to construct those tennis courts to the north to be able to accommodate that.
we don't want to just fix the tennis courts, decide you want to add the pickleball courts later and have to move the newly constructed tennis courts.
Right, we'll end up with pavement joints that are
Right.
gonna be in the wrong locations for that.
I think when she came in, wasn't her suggestion to just keep one as tennis and
Yeah.
the other one too?
Yeah, that's what
That's what she was
Pickleball.
asking.
Yeah, it was 2 pickleball, 1 tennis.
Yeah,
Paula said, it's gone above, beyond.
what
they
they
wanted.
had wanted. No.
Right, so.
That's what I'm saying, we should just combine them, obviously the pathway improvements, I think that's mandatory. I think that needs to just be fixed. Mix the other stuff,
So help me, go, I'm sorry.
no, that's, I'm
Go
done.
ahead. Help me out, skate park. What needs to happen with the skate park? I mean,
That's what I was kind of wondering.
I can
too.
let Adam explain it, but it's in the same condition as the
Okay.
tennis courts. So, we're fixing the tennis courts because it's on level.
Yep.
The
Yeah.
skate park has the same situation.
And it's kids on it and.
And I mean, you're
Our kids
skating
go
on
down
it.
there too.
Right.
Or something. if
Yeah.
there's
I mean,
a
if you're
mishap or
trying to go
whatever.
through there with your little scooter and you hit,
My son's not gonna go down there.
but I mean, you guys evaluated it a little bit or?
Yeah, I've been out there. They deteriorate over time, so we have different options. It just depends on what we want to get out of those, right? So what we proposed in here is going in there and taking the surface, the HMA, the asphalt off, leaving the base material that's there and just repaving that.
okay,
So we're not doing a full reconstruction. But we're able to get that material out of there so we can start fresh without any additional.
same equipment then, same
Yes, this
everything.
would be just take the existing equipment off and then replace that.
Is there a pathway from the pathway that goes around down to the playground? At one point there was, and now there isn't. Do you know what I'm talking about? There's, when you walk down the path and you want to go with your kids or grandkids out there,
Oh, they
I
took
thought
the whole path out,
yeah, I
by
thought,
where the playground was.
yeah.
I think they just took the fence out, because
Yeah,
there was a fence there,
okay, there wasn't any
and
walkway.
now
through
there's
there?
not a fence.
There is a walkway on the other side though.
Yeah, but there used to be a walkway
Yes, there was a
into
walkway
both
on both
sides,
sides.
and they took out the one walkway.
Okay,
And that came from the slope of that hill and all that, and having a pathway.
Maybe it
across
couldn't
there.
make the slope anymore or something.
Correct.
They did
It's
have
gonna
to
be-
remove it.
It was
when
gonna
we-
be an erosion issue.
Okay. But we could consider fixing that because when we actually design it. I mean, because we don't have to design it right now. There might be room and contingency to put that back in. But see, these are the things that happen in that 6 to 8 months when we
Right.
usually have
Right,
this.
right, yeah, right.
And unfortunately,
Yeah, we get
if
it.
we want to get this in, we kind of just have to like,
We'll figure it
So,
out.
so pathways. Do we need to fix the pathway?
Yes,
I mean,
I think so, that's where.
I think that's
Okay.
number one,
Yeah, I think it's
absolutely.
so
Okay,
true.
I mean-
Bikes,
If we're gonna do-
rollers, walking.
Well, people go down there just to get their.
So how much,
walks.
would we save if we combined, do you feel like? The
5 and
tennis,
6,
Oh, taking the new pickleball courts out and then, because there will be some cost of taking the equipment from the one project to the other. So that you have the nets and stuff to set up for that.
Can we, you said you had to use smaller trucks to load stuff. We got access to golf carts. We can get down there.
I don't think they'll
I'm just
maintain.
kidding.
Everybody's falling over.
you got it?
I think I'm okay now.
I mean, and how much realistically do we think we need to cut out of this to be able to do
Well,
another
wait.
project?
let's just see what we work on it, see what money we got, because you know how every project is, you get it.
So we'll probably have somewhere in the neighborhood of about 15 grand to 10-15 grand that would need to be accounted for on the tennis from the pickleball. Because we have to do restripe, we'll have to make sure we have the court striped multiple, and then we'll have nets and an additional setup so that it has to be configured in a fashion that they can be pulled so that you can continue to use it, because those courts are typically 1 tennis court to 2 pickleballs, so you're setting up nets in the play area for the tennis, so you don't want to have things in a fashion that would be
Whether
a
a trip
hazard.
or whatever,
And I
yeah.
know, we're asking you to dig deep in these numbers, right? But tennis courts, you said earlier about there's cost in moving those. Is that cost in this 185,000?
Yes.
So if we decided not to move them, that number would go down.
Yes,
Any idea how much? I mean, a
I
ballpark.
don't think my numbers are separated in a fashion to
Okay.
pull that.
Well, I mean,
out.
can we just do the 145 and just call it, I mean, the nets and stuff aren't that much, right? 'Cause, I mean, the majority of that cost is that pavement. You were 85 the first time around, and then we went to 145.
Yeah, that's why I said the parts that would transfer from the one court to the other, we've got nets and posts. Striping, there's some coatings that I was taking into account that may be an additional cost tied to both of the courts, but. That's why I think we're in the 10-15 that we would want to take out of that 145 to the 185 for the tennis courts.
So what you're saying,
Both.
what you're saying is the tennis courts would go up to 200. The
And then you take.
pickleball would go away. Yeah, right.
I think we gotta do some donations down here at the amphitheater with some concerts or something. Pay for a lot of stuff.
Well, this is money that we need to apply for because, I mean, we got a time frame and we don't have to put any money up as a city. It would be silly for us not to make a decision and move forward.
So we, as
At least apply.
6 or 7 of us, need to just,
Thanks for including.
well, you're usually the tiebreaker, so.
Yeah,
There's
okay.
3 in there,
I'm just.
but no, like the 7 of us, we just need to choose right now.
Yeah.
Paula, get up there on the dry erase.
I mean, why not
Draw it
go,
out.
why not go for it, I guess, if, you know, see if we
So-
can get.
So I think that from this list, what I need you guys to do is dumb this down.
So,
I mean, I need some stuff to take out.
I don't think, here's my 2 cents, right? I agree with you. I don't think we're gonna get enough cut out to make it warranted for another project. You see what I'm saying? I don't know that we're
Well, then
gonna
I guess we need to back up and decide, do you want
just do
to put
this.
an application in for Bait
Right.
Scout later that is
Right.
completely separate from this and might eat into this, because then, right, so this is $1 million, if we apply,
We can apply for this one and then apply for the second round for the other one, couldn't we?
So let's be
We would
optimistic,
be able
right?
to only.
can they equal more than $1 million? Or can we only get
The
funded
total
up
that
to
a
$1 million?
Community can get is $1 million.
Let me-
Okay.
But if,
So,
can we put
yeah.
in 3 for 1 million each?
And just hope for the best.
Well,
But they would
I don't
only
see a
approve
reason
one.
why you wouldn't be able to. Doesn't
Okay,
indicate
that's
you
my,
can't
that's
apply
my
for more.
question. You see what I'm saying?
You're going right where I was going. Looking at optimistic, let's say we did this one for $1 million, we did another one for 500,000, we ended up winning both of them. And they said you can only have $1 million. What happens?
Can we put
Well-
more than? How many can we put in? Is there a limit?
I think the first round goes through and they make decisions and then you submit for the second round. So you already know if you're
Oh.
approved or not.
We could do 3 right now.
Could do 3 right now.
Yeah, I mean, we can put, yeah.
However,
Yeah, it takes
But-
some
I don't
time
know,
to
we're
do
gonna
that.
get 3 in by the
Yeah, yeah,
19th.
yeah, no, I agree. No,
I'm starting to get.
yeah, no, I
Get
get
one-
it. So
get
if
one
we-
in.
if we go with this one and then go with one for Bates Scout Park. For the
Well,
second
Or
one,
can we do a DNR grant? They got,
or,
they
yeah,
got other grants that- besides the,
Right, another.
let's find all the grants we can.
All right,
so realistically. Well, get up there with your, no, I'm just kidding.
I'm like-
So I mean, what can we cut out? I mean, so we've had everybody, and the ice rink came up where we had people say, no, I think we like that, right?
you know, the people know, so we have to figure that out.
Pathways and the lighting improvement.
I mean, if we feel like we're not gonna lose enough. You know
Right,
what,
yeah, I mean,
then keep it because.
Yeah.
I would try to ice skate.
even if you took the ice skating, rink, that's $200,000.
But that's.
What's that gonna do us? Yeah, I mean,
Or just in the winter, we have it, have the fire department with their hoses, spray out some
Old
water down there.
school.
We
Like
are
what they used to
putting
do.
water on this court that costs $200,000.
That's what I'm saying. That's what they used to do at the old town courts up there.
But we're not, that's why they didn't let us.
Well, we didn't go skating though. We were sliding down the hill with boxes from Wild Furniture.
Yeah. And running into the baseball fence.
That's why there's no fence down there.
Fence down
Too
there.
many kids broke their leg back in the day.
Fun times.
so I'm gonna make a motion that we go with this. For round one,
I second that.
as is.
Yep.
Well, I don't, it can't be as is because it's over $1 million,
It
but
should be,
somewhere.
we just won't get.
We just
to
have to
that.
put in the extra.
Well, that means that
5,000.
my resolution is gonna say the city's gonna come up with $5,000, right?
Okay.
I mean, that's what, so, we have to do a resolution. So, do you want a motion first, or you just want to do the resolution? I have a sample resolution here. I know.
And then I like Marcy's idea of going, singing about DNR grants for,
Or
Yep.
that other one that lady came in and thought. What was that? Not that one.
I think I'm.
Sorry, one fell back. Okay, so here's,
I can sure I got all.
these are what's required in the resolution, so I need. A motion and a second, and then it says the city of Laingsburg supports the submission of a application titled McClintock Park Improvements. DNR, Spark Grant, blah, blah, blah. And this is for improvements to the existing tennis court, skate park, HMA pathway. The development of new amenities to include pickleball courts. Synthetic ice rink with lighting, and the addition of solar lighting for the HMA pathway. On land owned and operated by the city of Laingsburg. City is hereby making the financial commitment to the project in the amount of,
$5,000.
there we go. And the city council authorizes submission of this grant for $1 million, whatever, 1,000,005. And then I'll have to calculate whatever that percentage is that we're doing, because that's why I put 0 there, because I didn't know what that was gonna be. And further resolves to make available financial obligation of $5,000 of a total of the project being $1,005,000. Authorizing me to do all the paperwork and sign all the stuff. That's what it says.
Can I have one more question?
I'm just reading this.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
that's good. The ice rink. Where are you seeing it being placed?
It could sit, so this is synthetic material, they're in panels. And so this could be set up on the tennis courts or the pickleball courts, during the winter. And the key is there are systems that are set up to be able to be flooded and actually be ice. Wouldn't recommend that in this particular instance, the synthetic material, the floor skating. Has been very functional, so there are different facilities that use it for practice for hockey and other things as well. So there are a couple of these rinks in the area. I know there's one that's set up in downtown Lansing, and there's one in Reagan Township.
I'm Cassie went to look at
You
one.
know, that would be good at Bates Scott Park too. They play hockey
What is
over
the
there.
maintenance?
Yeah.
I mean, is there a repair material that you have to put in there once the skates are going through it, or do they not cut it up? I mean,
that's what I was.
what
They
is
don't-
that?
They don't, yeah, they will wear, so there's a life expectancy depending on how much use they actually get. Each of the systems that are out there are a little bit different. So some of them have a product that you put down, like it's almost like an oil that goes down on it. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that when you describe this, and probably try to do something that wouldn't have that much maintenance to go to. There are some systems that they really are just a wear system, so they will take the wear for whatever number of years, with the number of amount of use.
The average warranty, your expectancy?
I believe most of them were warranted of 2 years, but these are like a laminated material. You have to take them apart to store them indoors during the off season and then put it back down.
Did
They're
we,
like a plywood, most of them are like a plywood back. So you put down, like put down a liner or a screen or something like that, depending on which system it is, and then lay these boards out. They snap together, they're double edge.
what is smell?
So there's really no way to repair it.
Yeah. exactly.
So they would
I was
just.
thinking more base scale
Just
for-
replace
for
it.
the
So much
big
panels.
store rate.
I'm looking long term, how much is it gonna be to fix this thing in 3 years?
Correct.
Hey, Cassie, do you want to comment on the one you looked at?
Really low.
They might have fallen asleep.
Yeah, right.
Oh. The one in Hazlet, it is where their farmer's market is. And it just had like a metal rack they had a fence around it, like rail. And then they had like a Rubbermaid shed that had skates, and it was just open and available. Anybody could just use it. And those skates were donated by somebody. I don't remember what the side of the shed said.
What's the liability of that?
I mean, we would have to check with our insurance.
I could just see some kid get cut open by another kid.
At a skate park though, I mean, I can't imagine.
They're not blades.
The insurance company, I mean, municipal insurance usually covers, I mean, City of Lansing wouldn't have one. If their municipal insurance didn't cover it, and then we have governmental immunity, so we would put up signs that say. You know, hey, yeah. No, you put up signs that, you don't put up a sign that says you must wear your helmet, because
Right.
that means we have to have somebody down there making them wear a helmet. We need to put up signs at your own risk, yada, 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 this, I mean, and they advise us on those kind of things.
Is there, we're talking about like getting these panels to put on the tennis court or whatever. Is there a way to do it so it's just in its own section where it can stay? It's not removable panels? Like it's a permanent thing? I don't know. I don't know how this works. I have no idea.
You'd still buy it and it would be in panels because of how they manufacture it. It'd have to be in something that could be shipped.
I'm guessing it'd have to be on a very flat surface, it'd have to have some kind of support, I don't think.
Well, yeah, I know
Yeah,
what we're
but
gonna
I'm
put
sure you
grass
could.
or anything, but like it's a little section or something.
Well, we can put that on Roosevelt Road.
If-
But I'm just thinking, taking care of it, like putting it away, that would, oh my
That's
God, I
the
can
next thing.
imagine what's going on in Dave's head right now over that.
No comment? No.
Retirement?
I mean, going back, it's a cool idea, like it's awesome, but if you were gonna take it down.
The one that's in Lansing, they had the first couple years, they set it up right at City Hall. So it was up on the concrete plaza.
Right up here?
And, yeah. And then they moved it this year, so they moved it down, into one of the other parks. And that is being set up on, I believe they brought in aggregate and just packed aggregate and are setting up on top of that.
So it doesn't have to be like smooth. the surface.
Well, they have to level it out, but it
But
does have to
aggregate
have
can be kind
something.
of rough.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just thinking that it's not like.
Yeah, I
okay,
believe the
paved.
bottom has, it's not just gonna sit flat on there. I think there's like a.
Okay.
I'm gonna call it a little heat or whatever on each of those
Okay.
panels that looks set in place for it. And then they set it up and seems like it was only a day for them to, once they had everything prepped for it was gonna go to get that up, and they have boards around theirs. This what we were planning for it being filling in the particular area of the court. So we'll have to take a look at how that size would fit, but you wouldn't have anything additional to that. You would have just the fencing that was up the courts.
And I know you guys are tired of hearing this, but again, in the 6 to 8 month thing, we would have time to like really dig into these
Yeah.
things. So that's the
So maybe
problem.
we should be digging in right
No,
now.
that's not-
Okay.
You know,
I get it.
you have to make a decision on it.
Yeah,
But I'm just saying that, you know, we could literally spend months trying to make sure that
Yeah.
we were putting it in the right place and doing all of these things. And I mean, right now, we're like, you know, we're just trying to get a grant.
yeah,
But if we get it, then we need to answer all of them. Do you see what I'm saying?
yeah, no, I get
But
it.
but I do think you need to think about the maintenance of it and Dave putting it up and down and where you're gonna, you know. I mean, those things are probably, you know, important, but there's a lot that there's just gonna be a lot unknown on that thing.
Yeah.
What's our flexibility if we put these things in for the grant? We win the grant and then find out that
You don't
the
want
ice,
one of them.
well, the ice rink, we're gonna pay $1 million a year for liability insurance, just throwing a number, out there, right? Can
Just
we
cut
take
it
that out? What's our flexibility? with that? Do we know?
It's a new program, so. It, more than likely, if you reduce scope, there may be some reduction in the amount of grant that's there.
Right.
but
Well,
it's speculative
Yeah.
right now, because we
Yeah.
haven't seen them.
But they wouldn't throw out the whole grant. Or,
The only thing that
I
may trigger that.
I get
is
if we took
that
$200,000 out of it, we
particular
wouldn't get the
If that particular scope item was scoring the points that allow the application to exceed another one, there's a chance that they could come back and indicate that that would be a problem.
Right,
We
so
have
they
seen
only
that
get
in other
we have
programs.
that escape thing in
Yeah.
there,
Then,
and then we take it out, they'd be like,
Yeah.
well, now you don't get any, I've never had that happen where we said, well,
We haven't, yeah, and yet we haven't seen how they're going to administer this particular program. But we have had in the past where community has looked at making an adjustment. And the adjustment item was one of the items that scored them the points to be able to get the funding, and that funding source did not let them adjust that and still keep the grant. So
will we know before that decision is made? And let me ask, so if we go out and say, we don't want to do days, we're just using that as just an example, right? Will they come back, and if it's just what you said, will they say, okay, you're done? Would we have the opportunity, oh, no, we'll do the ice rink? Or would they say, no, we're done? I mean, I just,
No,
I think you're going down the road, I think you'll have to figure out as we go.
Okay.
It's really.
Okay. All right.
yeah, usually we.
Sorry.
Usually we can reach out to them and ask some questions to try to sort that out.
Yeah.
They aren't necessarily always gonna know how they're gonna approach it.
Got it.
upfront.
Yeah.
We're
Okay.
dealing with this with a couple.
I mean, we
of
have
others.
amended scopes before, but that would be a huge scope item.
and I get, we're probably gonna amend this, it's just, what damage
Right.
does it do to the whole thing?
You might be more likely to reduce the size of the rent or do some value engineering
Got
to the projects to be able to keep it. If for some reason costs skyrocket
Yeah,
there and
yeah.
then we're thinking we have $1 million and it comes in at 1.25 or something, we gotta do something to be able to get this to fit within the.
Yeah.
Right, when the bids come in, if they're way off, then we have to contact the person awarding us and say, hey, the bid, we gotta cut something out, And we did that with the amphitheater, we had to go through that step by step to figure out, hey, how are we gonna fund this now? Because the bids are twice as what we expected. So,
Okay, any other questions? Do we have a motion?
I make a motion.
Okay, so your motion is to approve the resolution that
Yes.
I read?
And there was a second. I just don't remember who.
Well, he made the motion originally, now.
Second that. I forgot.
Just to clarify, so is that statement for the total grant amount in there of $1 million, or is that the total project amount?
So the question, it says. Resource part grant application for. So the application is for $1 million,
I think the maximum dollars that you can get is $1 million.
right, so the grant application is for $1
And
million,
then you
right?
guys have 5,000.
And then further results to make available the 5,000 for a total project cost of 1,000,005.
Yeah.
Right, okay,
It said we could go over $1 million, but over $1 million might be matching grants, matching funds.
correct.
Yep.
I do
And-
appreciate all your work and your knowledge in it and your
So-
detailed things that I don't want to.
So let's vote on this motion, and I think we need a roll call for this.
We do, we're gonna do my little check.
What was underneath that pile over there?
I watched it. All right, Miller,
Yes.
Judd,
Yes,
Allen,
yes.
Yes.
Nichols.
Yes.
Geisler,
Yes.
Beavers,
Yes.
another Geisler.
Yes. Now do we need to cover?
Yeah,
Yes.
so now, you guys, I gave you those, right, or let me test these out. Now we got authorized to pay C2AE. to help me get this done. And then, whatever else they said they do in there.
I make a motion to,
I suck it.
yeah.
Yeah. you-
Um,
oh, you know,
To pay it.
C2A.
Advise me on the application.
All right, we had a motion, we had a second.
Just over there making a motion and we're all talking.
What was your motion, Gail?
To pay him the $12,000 for the application process for the grant.
How, can we have a motion to approve the proposal by C2AE? That'd be okay.
Do we have a second?
Adam's like, yeah.
I have
you
a second,
can
yeah.
pay me.
All right.
I make a motion that we go to 13.
No, we have to vote on this. Yeah. Didn't think this was gonna be the long.
Oh, I did.
So did you? Yeah. So do we need a roll call on this one? This one?
Yeah, you're spending money. You
Yep,
should.
I agree. That's one.
Miller,
Yes.
Judd,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Nichols.
Yes.
Beavers,
Yes.
Geisler. Yes. Geisler,
Yes.
got it.
Okay. 13. Happy Days. Spring cleaning.
Real quick. I want to pick a date. I'd like to pick the day, the first Saturday in May, if we want to go forward. I don't know if we want to do prizes or whatever, but I do think maybe, putting something out there and see if people would like to do a spring cleanup. And I'm willing to reach out to the recyclers and see maybe how they might be able to
I have
help,
power washing.
or whatever people
Right.
might want to do. But do you think a Saturday, the first of May seems reasonable? I guess if we're
Is
doing
that
Friday?
that's before Mother's Day,
I
right?
think it's the week before Mother's Day.
Oh, Mother's Day.
I want to say that Mother's Day is the.
I'm putting all my stuff to the road. For her.
You know what?
I'm gonna put all my stuff to the road for your neighbor.
Sorry.
I think my notes.
I'll be looking for it next door.
No, my husband.
Okay, so
I'll just put his name right on it. Right on Church Street, right on Church.
Mother's Day is the 14th, so
Sure.
it's the week before after.
Turn right.
Okay, so do we want a motion to set the date for spring?
I don't
cleanup?
really know if we really need a motion, do we? Just not need a
So
move.
May,
forward.
May-
I think it would be good.
Okay,
So. for
Any
the
day's
end of
good for
May,
that.
May 7th.
Whatever you think.
May 6th, Saturday.
May 6th.
I'll just go forward trying to figure out who might help us with the idea.
Okay,
Maybe put it on the agenda in March or April or something.
I'll give you my address so you guys do a drive-by. It'll be real easy to
but like,
find.
hey, there's stuff out there.
Marcy's
All right.
is really nice.
next one, grand opening reform wellness. That is. When is that?
Seventh.
If we put it down there.
Got it.
Yeah, maybe.
No, so grand openings, and this is for reform wellness. But would like to, as a council, and employees, city, if you can make it to a grand opening, please do, introduce yourself. Let's make these businesses feel welcome, right? You don't have to be there for a long time.
We
So,
went, I had a donut, shook a hand and left.
Yeah,
You don't even have to come to the grand opening, at least like maybe in the first couple weeks that people are here, just show your face. Introduce yourself, you can feel
I
happy.
can't remember why we weren't in town. We
Well,
weren't
yeah,
here that
you're
weekend.
not gonna be here for everything, but
No,
That's-
most of the time we are.
Yeah,
most of the time we
just-
are.
you just stop in.
Same thing like the
The
LBC organizes those. So if you guys just follow that Facebook.
You said the LBC.
LBC Day,
LBCA.
Langsburg Business and Community.
I'm still in those texts, so I get all those flooded
Would you like me to
texts.
get you out of my text?
So it's new
I don't
on
mind them.
December 17th, this is Saturday.
Is that the new one's gonna be December 17th?
Yes.
Which building's that one at the very end?
Where the Toy Story used to be.
You guys have a time?
Nude.
No.
Yeah, but again, that's expanding it to not only that one, but all in the future, so. All right, next, council agenda and packet process. All right, so I've asked
Not in there
Paula,
either.
yeah, I know, this is just for me to get on so much. I've asked Paula to see if we can start getting out the packets a day before, like on Thursday afternoon as opposed to Friday. Just because if you get them Friday afternoon, you don't really, I mean, yeah, you can call and ask questions on Monday, but this gives us more opportunity to kind of go through these. So, what she said wasn't really a problem for her and her team to get it. It's just, she needs to get the information quicker. So we have things that need to go on the agenda and information, we need to make sure we get that to her
Right.
sooner, right? And what would you say, by Monday, Tuesday?
Yeah, I
The week
mean, like,
before?
so right after this meeting, we'll start working on the next packet. And so, I mean, I use this tool that, is really great for adding things and we try to attach them, but a lot of things sometimes are right in motion, right up to
Yep.
the end. I mean, and sometimes like, especially right now with this Parks grant, you know, I'm waiting on Adam to get me some things and sometimes I'm waiting on something from the building department or, you know, whatever. So there are gonna be, like, Marcy's got something that's not in her packet because, you know, we were trying to hurry up and get them done. And so we are actually just working on these all month. So if you want something on the agenda, that's my other question is, you know, do you want everybody getting stuff to me or do you want it to go
Run through
through
me.
you?
I
Or,
mean,
you know what I mean?
Run agenda through.
Because it's like, you know, he says you want something on the agenda and I tell you, like, where'd that come from? Yeah, I mean,
Right.
so
Yep.
we kind of have to have like
Yep.
how we're gonna do this.
Yeah, come to me for agenda.
And
items.
so then I would like to get it to you by like Tuesday.
Yep.
Or, you know, so that on Wednesday we can be
Yep.
tweaking it if
Perfect.
we're gonna get it out on Thursday.
Perfect, that's great.
So our next one's 2 weeks away from now. We have a holiday in
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah, got it.
I mean, it's just- it really,
Yeah,
it really, I mean,
and I understand that we may, this way, we may have things that come up on Friday before that are, hey, this isn't in your packet because it just came out, right?
Yeah, we could.
Crap happens, that could happen.
and then you're all gonna pick them up on time and read them, right?
Yeah, we normally do.
Just
I did
saying,
that
I do on
one.
Sunday.
a little bit,
Sunday
then I did
reading.
my paper today.
just saying.
Sunday reading. You're not
Okay.
talking on
Yeah.
TV,
you
really?
can do something.
Even open that.
Yes, I did. There's probably dog slobber on here somewhere.
All right, so let's, you know, let's try and get that, things to fall on her team quicker, so. I want to, another one, it's not on the agenda, but I want to thank Dan and his team, Dave and his team for all the work they did over the weekend for Winterfest. I've heard nothing but good things about Winterfest and your guys, all your guys' help, so. The events like that.
Greg
can't
and
happen.
his team.
And Greg and his, well, yeah, the LBCA, that's.
And where's the letter?
I know, that's what where was the good letter we
Oh, yeah.
got?
I gave one to you.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
have buried. It's right
Dave's
there.
got a
I got
stack
it.
of them.
So let me read this.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
So-
this doesn't happen very often, so.
Yeah, so the city received a phone call 12/5 from Bruce Brookhouse. He called to compliment the city on everything. He stated he brought his granddaughters downtown to Winterfest this weekend and had the best experience. Everyone was kind and friendly in the streets. He felt like his grandchildren were safe at all times. The vendors were friendly, everything was wonderful. He said it might be weird, but he wanted Lanesburg to know what a great experience he had. He even mentioned meeting a police officer because he was speeding. I wanted to thank him too. He explained the situation being from out of town, and the officer kindly explained where the speed limit change and didn't issue a ticket, so.
I had to laugh when I read that.
Yeah, I was, yeah. So, thank you, everybody, for everything. What's my?
That's nice.
Okay. Approval of November bills.
I make a motion to pay bills.
I second.
Oh, I should remember this. Do we need a roll call?
Yeah, for money.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, I figured, but
Miller,
Yes.
Judd, Alan,
Yes.
you can't say yes to Miller,
I didn't.
Nichols.
Let me know. Yes.
Giesler, yeah, Shevers.
Yes.
Giesler.
yes.
Gina.
All right. Committee reports. Let's see which one to first here.
I'll go first.
Okay, go ahead.
Planning Commission, we obviously made Tony the chair. And then we spoke about, I'm having a brain fart already. No, we spoke about the grants. And we spoke about the training and stuff like that. And we spoke about like what kind of stuff that we maybe possibly could put in a grant, like. We just threw out ideas. We didn't have anything major on the agenda. It was more of a discussion type thing, and it was a quick meeting.
Talk about pickleball.
Yeah,
Park grant.
lots of things we talked about.
Okay, thank you. Fire safety. Yeah, is that you?
LSW.
Oh, so it is. Yeah.
I didn't have the numbers for.
Marcy.
Oh, I do.
Oh,
Oh,
go ahead, Mark.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. It's all in the minutes.
Sorry, it was Dan last time. It's,
Good.
Or I can do that, don't man.
So the ambulance had 46 calls for last month, bringing the total to 229 for the year for the ambulance. Fire department had 47 fire calls, bringing the total to 501 year to date. We have hired a couple of new prospective firefighters that will be going to school in January. They will be going over to Clinton County for the fire school. Other than that, same old thing, I guess.
Well, one good thing, thank you for buying, you bought new coats, reflective vests.
Oh, and I did buy new coats for the EMS personnel. That was in the budget. So that they actually have winter coats. So when they're standing out on the highway at 20 degrees, they'll be able to stay warm, so.
Definitely high vis.
Yeah,
that's
high
right.
vis, and if they leave, they are instructed, they have to turn those jackets back in. So,
yeah, a lot like.
yeah, and we still have a full schedule 24/7,
so
so
nice.
things are going good on that.
All right,
This one.
sure, so, yeah, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, well, it's right here. Forgot it's not in my packet, we had a meeting there, been a long day. Trying to budget for a new patrol car, you need to order by 2023.
Yeah, money's already budgeted for it.
What's the lead time on getting? the car?
It could be several months.
Okay, but it's not like a
depending on-
fire truck.
Yeah, it's not gonna take 2 years like a
Right.
fire truck,
Yeah.
so. I will get with Ford after the first of the year, start working on that. As I told the police committee, when we bought the 17, to outfit it with everything and whatnot, it still costs us about $56,000. So I'm sure the prices have all gone up. So it'll be interesting to see what that amount will be.
Is that the equipment?
That's the patrol car with the equipment, with the overhead
Right.
lights, the cage and everything.
What-
Fully
Computer.
optioned.
Because I'm like, we know we're gonna need a new computer too.
Yep, he needs a new computer and all that, so, going forward on that, the other budget item will be, body cameras. We stated before, our body cameras are at the end of their life. So if they break, they will not be repaired. I did get, 3 different quotes and looking at different companies, to see what, we will do. One thing that they do keep money coming in now, they all have a licensing fee that they charge every year. So that's one way that these companies keep having money come to them.
So the video loads right up to their site. Wow.
It goes, yeah, right now our video just stays in-house
Okay.
on the computer. Doesn't go to the cloud, but everybody now, all the video goes to the cloud.
She doesn't have a charge.
They're claiming they're not gonna charge me for it. but
Oh,
we'll
okay.
see.
Yeah.
So, and then Marcy has info for the monthly.
Yep, so had a total of 16 reports. Had 35 total traffic stops, 12 traffic tickets issued, 23 traffic warnings. And then we had 2 for the city ordinance violations, 2 abandoned vehicles. This is the usual. That sounds like. You want me to go through all the reports or just the number on that?
Whatever,
I mean-
basically, you get, yeah, the only item really is, we did have a liquor investigation, and that is because, the Legion wants to have special events, because based on their license, they have to get approval through the liquor commission, that then has to be approved by me, so that's why there's a liquor investigation. Some of the reports are just the normal stuff. There was one called adulterated food. And that's because someone thought that, or believes they had put something in their drink. To poison them, make them sick, whatever the case may be.
That's the only highlights really.
Yeah.
Perfect. Library.
Well, it's pretty much usual. The silent auction, I think at least from our meeting, everything, they were up to 130 donations. And had been picking up, they were a little freaked out at first that they didn't get as much as they did years before. When Sandra was on vacation, everything for that went well. We had story time scheduled for this last Sunday, and I hear that that went really well too. And then they decorated the library. We did all approve Gail's resignation for the board as I got appointed to it. And we're networking for another board member for the library. So really, that's pretty much it.
DPW, Greg. Does he do it? Do you do it? He's okay.
Yeah, you do it.
We talked about the Spark grant. We went through a lot of the stuff that we went through today. Discuss what projects we want to put into. That's why you guys got the forms that you got. Trying to figure out what we thought was best. There was a Facebook survey that went out. We kind of took away from that. That's where the ice rink really came from, because that was like, I think, number one. And a splash pad was in there too, but so we went over the splash pad. The Spark was the biggest discussion. We really didn't talk about much anything else. I mean, besides the discussion meeting, but the DBW meeting, the actual one, did not take very long. So Dave's heat 2. Did you get that info?
It's coming around.
Okay, because there, yeah, I was working on that. So
The heating,
that's about all we did.
the heating.
Yeah.
Yeah, the heating.
On that Facebook survey, what was that exactly off from? Is it off the Langford community page
I
or
think the
what?
city did it, didn't it?
Yeah, Kim put it out.
Oh, so it's right on the city web,
No, we put it on
That's
Facebook.
basically it.
for
I didn't
city of
see it.
Langford. Oh,
Right, but it was on the community
Yeah.
page.
oh.
I don't miss
It was-
anything.
I haven't been getting. stuff.
I answered it 3 times.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a big one.
So yeah, though, all of that, and Kim kind of put this interactive stuff out there so people could
Yeah,
answer, which park and where they wanted stuff or.
Oh.
So,
Which is cheaper than doing the paper method. Saving a tree lawn.
well, we don't really have time right now to do the,
I know,
I
right.
mean, this was kind of just our way of getting some public input.
Mhm.
We could still put some public input out there if you want on what you guys decided, but. I mean, okay.
That's asking.
Nope,
go.
just let it go. So,
There's a lot of people that don't get on Facebook. That's why I was wondering how it went out on.
I didn't see it on Facebook.
I didn't either, but I haven't been on. in a while.
Okay, next one, DDA. That would be me, wouldn't it? So we talked about the state park. There's an advertisement that gets posted out there. What we're gonna do with that. There was a proposal for Summerfest. Basically expanding the pancake breakfast to include Thursday night music in the park, Friday night music in the park. Same things on Saturday, some music at the Legion on Saturday, then gospel music on Sunday, the car shows that are happening. So really just expanding it and taking it from just the pancake.
Because last year we did have music.
Yeah, we-
We did have on Friday. We already had the 2 car shows. We already had that. It's just kind of adding more events to that.
So also talked about the fellow coming in and the Spark grant, same kind of discussion. And then agreed to pay Agnew Graphics to do a design for the banners that hang up and down Main Street.
That'll look nice having something up there.
Mhm.
Hey,
Little
So who's
faster.
the one that's in charge of the flags?
I'll be seeing.
You guys are, do you guys have anything that you guys are starting to do with any of the flags, like replace some of them?
The Lions is gonna give us some money to buy it.
Okay, so yeah, so that's why I wanted to ask that, because
But
that
they
is up
are,
for
they are
discussion.
replaced a third at a time, so they normally do a third. The
Okay.
lines we're discussing about, but
Okay, that's what I wanted,
That
that's
sounds
all
like it
I
might go
wanted to
through.
know. I just needed a detail on it.
We need to make sure both groups are on the same page. on it.
That would be
yeah,
nice.
yeah, that's it. Okay, I know that finance isn't in there, but there was something
Oh.
that came up tonight that we need to discuss.
Yeah, that's the only reason why. I
Because we
asked,
didn't meet
so that
last
I know.
month.
Right,
So-
yeah. So there is Paul's gonna have to help me a little bit on this.
Light elimination.
Yeah, so land bank light grant. That she went to a meeting today about, and we have 4 properties that qualify to this category. One is the piece of property up there where the warehouses are, that we're together with the school. Gonna tear down. That's one of them that would qualify for this, in this category of this grant. The second one is the property that we have that's behind PDP's, the old farmers elevator. Third piece that's a possibility is, I don't remember where this was
Lane
at.
Street, it's by the car wash, it's that vacant lot.
Or the
Okay.
recycling
Behind
Yes.
the market.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay.
where the old warehouse that we tore down.
Yep.
And then the other one is Langsburg Road.
The river.
So, there are 7 people that applied for this, so we're one of 7. It's a $200,000 grant. And so she put together some, numbers, for each of those properties. And the one that was, the highest that we put is the property possibility with the, one with the school. Because we can kind of show that we put money into this situation, that probably would score good on the, it's involving us and the school and the community and that sort of thing. It doesn't sound like we know exactly how this is all gonna work out yet, but
Right, so the Shiawassee County Land Bank applied to the state land bank and they were funded. They got $200,000. So now they get to determine who gets that $200,000. They could split it up, they could give it all to one person, when I got to that meeting today, there are 7 people that want that money. But when I left, one of the guys wanted me to have it. So. He liked my presentation because, I kind of feel like maybe I should just give the money to Langsburg. It was funny, but, so, I mean, this thing has kind of been kicking around. Justin's been sending me stuff, so, then he's like, well, just send me your projects. So I send them the ones that we have, and these are the things where I talk about where we do have projects on the shelf, and like, these are easier, these are ready to go for me that, I know what we're trying to do with that. And, so I feel like, because we're trying to partner with the school and the school has more funding for site improvements than we have, that our contribution may be, to get grants to help do these things. So I was able to get Eagle to do the phase 1 and phase 2 over there and that kind of stuff. We have a due care plan in place. And then now we have, this opportunity to tear that down. Where, school isn't seeking that out, so I'm gonna count this as our contribution to
Absolutely.
that project. So, yeah, I feel like, Justin said put them all in there. I really feel like though, the one that really, deserves the funding from the land bank would be the 300 grand river. And so what I would
they
think,
agreed as finance with them.
yeah, and so from city council, what we're kind of looking for is like a motion that supports that we want to do that project. That we want, to do that, and then how we plan to go forward, so. So one of the things that came out of today was that they did say, that a motion from your council would be great, or a letter from your senator, or, a letter from like Dan, who says there's a public safety hazard there, or a parent who's
yeah, we
had
need a letter.
issues dropping their kids off, So we need to gather up a few letters or whatever, if you all are in.
I'll write you a letter. It's an eyesore and get to my garage doors It's showing, that's one of our previous surveys
We
showing.
need garage
It's
doors days.
Health
not
safety
lifting.
too, so I really think that's important.
So, you know, if anybody knows anybody that would like to, write a letter to support this, if you guys support this, then,
I support it.
I'm looking for some kind of motion that you guys support this.
I make a motion to support tearing down that place and get people to sign,
Revitalizing
Yeah.
it.
making it
Revitalization.
pretty.
Do we have a second?
Second,
All in favor? Aye.
aye.
All opposed? Do we need more discussion? I guess I missed that.
I have one more question. I guess.
Okay.
I had a
So,
question too.
Okay, so
I'm sorry.
if it's the
I'm
same
sorry.
question or not, but, yeah. So there's $200,000. So if we're just making a motion to do that, when are they gonna be looking at these other options too? Cause could they give us all that money for?
We
other
could,
projects?
we applied for, so what I asked them for was 171,445.
Right, so we make the
Oh.
motion, do we say specifically 300 or the 300 Grand River, or do we say?
Why don't you support our application, including the 300, you know, and then
I make a
I'll
motion
doctor
to
it up a little.
support the application for any and all or whatever in between.
Yeah, I was just wanted to make sure we could get more money.
So, what
I
I've been
would've
is,
just
you
like that,
know,
though.
we called a contractor, we called Tritera, we, tried to find out, you know, what it would cost to remove asbestos, those kind of things, and we put all this together. So, I mean, we got quite a few.
Did they
offers.
do, so has anybody done any sampling to see if there's any asbestos in there?
That's all been taken care of.
Oh,
Oh,
man, I would.
I was gonna say it's concrete, isn't it just concrete block?
No, but we had a phase 1 and a phase 2, and, but when you demo the building, you still have to have like an asbestos survey done and probably knows.
Well, you wet it down, you'll have any problem.
Okay,
Compared to us, you
So we
don't-
have a motion. Do we have a second? Any more discussion on this? All right, all in favor, say aye. All opposed, say aye.
Did you guys wanna, have a match or just no match?
I said go for it.
Just,
I thought we were gonna consider the match what we had done with it.
Yep, so that's what we had talked about in finance was that we would say that our matches that, you know, we put up half the price for the purchase and that we're gonna be involved in the site plan development and
Yep.
continue to see that project through. So I will include some of that language in the grant application.
When do you need those letters by?
The end of the month would be, I mean, I think they want everything in by, it was just before, like, everybody leaves. So I think they said the 19th, or did they say the 28th? Let's shoot for like the week before the holidays.
All right. Reminder, if you haven't seen this, Thursday, 3 o'clock. How late, how long is that going?
We're gonna go 3 to 5, and then after that, we'll probably head to Twilligers, so.
So just an appreciation.
Well, it'll go as long as
Remind-
everybody wants to party.
Yep.
I'll see it by.
as soon as I get out of work.
I mean, I really just planned it here because, I mean, I don't see Mike and Linda at the bar real often, but it doesn't mean we can't, you know, continue it that direction. So,
So if you can make it, that would be good. All right.
where we did it?
Oh, I must have been.
Where were you?
You're gone, you're out somewhere.
We did.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
And the other thing, don't forget to sign up for training. If you haven't. we were-
So in light of that, there is a training this Thursday in the evening for people that work during the day. This starts at 6 o'clock. And it's this Thursday and next Thursday. It's basically all 4 classes. So 2 classes on this Thursday and 2 classes on next Thursday. The next one that's virtual and not in person was January 21st. It was in your packet. It's on a Saturday. And it starts at 8 o'clock in the morning. So Paula, you have to tell her because she registers and then we get credits for that. So that we know, you know, we actually can benefit from it in other ways, but the most benefit is that you all know what we're supposed to be doing. And so, I mean, I took them, I felt like, you know, learning about the open X rule and different things like that is kind of important. To be on the council, so Jeff is gonna do them. Thursday, these 2 Thursdays, so.
I have dart league.
I have Lions, I have Lions.
Dartley?
this week.
We're gonna be this, down, out, where are you gonna be at Thursday? Which one?
Okay.
So,
Yeah, those are.
we under others. still?
Watch that.
Right or others, yeah.
Okay,
What?
so a couple questions that I had were, it just came up when you guys talked about the lines, but are we anywhere in that building? Are we? Okay, we're nothing to talk about there. Okay,
So they have been instructed, to put their plan together. and
Okay.
Call you and to get on the agenda to present that.
Okay.
Okay.
and then,
Do they really do that?
okay,
Terry's-
I just wanna make
Terry's
sure-
here. Terry's back, so.
Terry's back,
Terry's
okay,
back.
good, yeah.
Did we have anything for other items?
that's what we're talking about right now.
I know, I just.
Sorry. Well, the only other thing that I was, just wanting to make sure of is how we wanna handle the budget. I mean, I know if finance, we're probably gonna have quite a few meetings that will probably be the only thing on the agenda. Do you wanna do it like at finance and then more here? How do you get, because we have new people that, I mean, how do I get all of you up to speed with the budget and what everything means and there, I mean, there's just a lot of things to explain, like we have Act 51 money and we have money that can only be spent at the sewer, only at the streets. There's certain things, so I don't know if it's something, I mean,
So I think that in the finance, it'd be more detail oriented and more of an overview at the council, and the council people can watch the finance
right, that's true,
meetings if
Yep.
they want to understand more details. Do you
Yep.
think that's okay?
No, I think that's absolutely fine. I mean, if you guys want to have like a separate budget, like meeting, we could try to work that in like in January or February, but might as well wait until all the committees meet again and like DPW should really be talking about budget. And if you want me at the DPW meeting to be there to answer questions on the budget, we can do some of those. The police should really talk about budget. The library should talk about their budget. I mean, there's a lot of things, we're talking about putting the packets together, same thing with the budget and like I said, earlier, it really does like just sneak up on you. It seems like I'm really overstepping trying to talk about it in December, but the next thing you know, it's time
Can't
to
be too
approve it.
early. Can't be.
There's a lot that goes into it. So if there's things we want to change, we want to update, we want to educate new people, then I feel like that it's important that we take that time. And then if somebody wants to come in and just sit down and go over it with me, just talk through what everything is.
Is
And
there any classes for just the finance type stuff? It didn't look like it was. So
the
real-
Department of Treasury, but
Oh.
I don't really, I mean, they do more about like the state chart of accounts and that kind of stuff. I have not seen a lot of that. There is some, if there's something that comes along, I can help you with that, see if I can find something, but.
You can get us up to speed.
But I can, I mean. There's just, there is a little, it's a lot to absorb at first. There's a lot that goes into it.
When does budgets need to be done?
We have to approve it by the third Monday in May.
Okay.
We have to have a public hearing at our May council meeting.
Got it.
And then we have to approve it by the third Monday. So usually by the end of April, we're ready, because if there's any more major changes, it makes it real tough for that public hearing. So. But I would stress that, if you ask questions at your department meetings and make sure everybody knows, we do have, we have money budgeted for training planning commission members, we have budget for training you guys, so. Feel like that's gonna be a big thing, and then next month we'll probably have the auditors here. And the audit will be done, and so we'll have to go through the audit, and that kind of stuff, so we're just finishing up that process right now, so. And as far as what's going on in our world in there, we're gonna mail out tax bills tomorrow, now that you guys approved all that, some phone calls will start coming in on that,
So I should burn on my,
yeah.
oh, no.
Yep. And then, we're just getting started. We finally got our building permit for the apartment rehab over Cinders. I do have some people talking about buying boondocks and doing something with it. I have some people interested in the Klotz building, giving us some ideas on some things. And, then we're working on the Blight grant, the fellow grant, the Spark grant, the budget. So we are, I mean, we are a little bit busy in there right now. And then sewer bills will go out the end of December. I'm sure I'm missing something that we're trying.
You can
We're
be
working on those.
building that. Is there something going on that too? Maybe possibly. Cool. Be nice seeing some more businesses.
I have so many ideas for so many businesses.
I know,
but
so
I'm
do
like,
I.
like, I'm only one person, I don't have any money.
The same, nice, like come through to go to the Sage Market, lights are on.
They give you a grant for that.
Tore out of there, so.
We've seen it. It's really nice to have.
Right, right. Nice, I'm not, just seeing the light, I'm like,
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's our goal, is to
Okay.
fill all the buildings, right, Paul?
Anything, any other business, anything else?
I have a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, I was. All right.